one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I need to stay up. See.
No. No, we've got other people in the audience to get to as well.
Make everybody dizzy.
Hi, guys.
All right, we've, any visitor comments? Oh, there's no visitors. Okay, perfect. Anyone on Zoom? I can't see who's on Zoom. Does anybody have any comments?
It's Ann Barnes.
Hi, Ann.
Hi, when you get to the Zen, can you explain what they want to do and what the DCA approval is?
Yeah, we're gonna have a conversation about that shortly.
Okay, thank you.
For sure. Thank you. Okay. DCA. She must have DCA. Yeah. Okay.
Someone has their hand up, Kelly.
Oh,
I don't know if that's Ann or not.
May I speak?
Yep, can you just identify yourself, please?
Of course. My name is Richard Degon. How are you folks doing tonight?
good. How are you?
I'm okay. If you're not familiar with my name, you folks and myself entered into a contract to broadcast these meetings on YouTube.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm contacting you tonight is because I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting my invoices paid. If you will humor me, I'd like to take you through a little timeline. On December 29th, I submitted 2 invoices. On February 8th, I sent a follow-up email. I received a single line reply submitting this week. On February 23rd, I followed up again regarding the December invoices. On February 28th, I received another reply saying check would be sent out this week.
Okay.
On February 28th, I also sent an additional 2 emails. On March 10th, March 11th, and today at noontime, I called and left voicemails asking for a call back regarding these invoices submitted in December. Did not receive a call, and that's why I'm here speaking with you folks tonight. We now have a total of 6 unpaid invoices, 4 which have been submitted for a total owed of $1,300. I would submit to you that this is not an ideal way to start a relationship, and I would like to know what the proper way is to go about submitting and receiving payments for these invoices, because clearly I am not doing it the proper way at this time.
Okay. I'm going to actually turn this over to Nicole because she would be in charge of getting that cleared up for you.
Okay?
Hey, Rick and everyone else. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't call you back today. I actually have you in an email waiting to be sent to you, but as you know, or if you don't know, we have accountants that are not on site. So I rely on getting back to them with emails and phone calls. I emailed them this morning to make sure that it was in the warrant. I didn't want to send it to you, until I know for sure that it's in the warrant. So if you don't mind, I think we should talk about this tomorrow. This isn't really appropriate right at this time and place. So I will absolutely call you tomorrow morning, and as soon as I hear back from the accountants. We did have issues because I needed your W-9s. So, there was a little bit of lag, I know, and I apologize. It's all on me, but I really think that we need to talk one-on-one tomorrow.
Well, I've attempted to contact you several times.
I'm going to
3
call you.
voicemails in the last 3 business days, and these invoices were submitted on December 28th.
I will call you tomorrow, Rick.
Fantastic. I
this
look
to
forward
continue.
to it.
I will call you tomorrow. Thank you.
I look forward to your call.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody else now?
So can we clarify? I do see that we're on TV. Are these being broadcast now, these meetings? We do have somebody that says Acton TV on.
That's him.
Okay.
So we're not yet because we don't have the equipment. So I was, I told him that not yet. There's no need for us at the moment.
Actually, if I may speak again, I was told to begin broadcasting these meetings on March 28th, and I have heard nothing otherwise.
Because we don't have the equipment yet, Rick. I
Alright.
wanted to do this all at once when we're broadcasting to be able to tell everybody that this is where we're at. Okay.
These meetings are being streamed live on YouTube.
Rick,
I was
I'm going to
asked to
interject
begin
here.
streaming these meetings on
That's
March
across the
28th,
internet.
which is what I did, and I have not been informed otherwise. So if you don't want this meeting streamed
Okay, well,
now,
that date hasn't.
I will end the broadcast. Excuse me, February 28th. I apologize, I
We will
misspoke.
certainly clarify this tomorrow, and I will make sure I also follow up on it.
I apologize, Tilly, but can everyone else that's on there mute themselves? Because I cannot hear anything on Zoom. There's so much feedback on the other side. Thank you.
Would you like me to end
Mute
this?
yourself.
Excuse me. This meeting is currently being streamed live on YouTube. Would you like me to end that stream?
Thank you.
We're just gonna blame it on that today. Okay. So we've got some old business, collection, discussion on the collector treasurer position and a clerk for finance. Do you wanna talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I would if you don't mind. I wanted to hopefully keep it on the agenda so we keep it on the front and center because it's very important that this position gets filled. And obviously, as you know from an email that I had sent regarding DLS and their work, you know, it's not a requirement, but it's strongly recommended that you combine these positions, especially in the event there's a vacancy. And so I'm working on the backside, really trying to get Jessica and I up to speed on the collector's software right now so we can do a lot of the work. And she's really good at all of the collector work. So, you know, she was on there last week posting the payments, but I mean, we have to formally do something soon because we just can't afford Saris anymore or for much longer.
I
And
would say we also can't afford you doing it.
and
sometime
I
too.
need to be
Because
focusing
you need to
on
be
other
doing
work
your
too.
job.
So
I know it's taking a lot.
it is, and so we're, you know, and that's why I want to keep it really upfront because it's so important that we clear this up, and I really want to put a clerk position in this department and with a combined treasurer collector, and I think, you know, I'm still of the mind that Jessica is the perfect candidate for it. She's here, and she's capable, and I've watched her over the past 7 months, and I'm really confident that she can do it as well, or other people that work with her, the accountant, the interim collector. So what we'll need to do very soon is I don't know exactly what the process is. If you approve that we create a new position and put it in the FY23.
But it has to go to vote.
Right, so I don't know if you approve that we put this line item in the budget, and then it goes, obviously, to town meeting.
I think it all has to kind of happen simultaneously
Okay.
with town meeting. I think it would have to go on the warrant as a question for the voters to vote on.
Yeah.
It would have to show in the budget, and maybe even both ways, depending on how the vote goes. You know? And say,
Okay.
use this budget versus this, like have maybe two.
Okay.
I think it all kind of has to happen during town.
Okay, so I have the language for the article from the attorney, so I have that already.
I think
so
we need to just keep.
yeah, so that's what
Make sure
I
we
you know, I
get
just want to make sure that it's
You know, depending on when we pick a town meeting date.
and then
it's
maybe in the next meeting we could
Okay.
So, greetings. The annual fire bylaws is supposed to be the second Saturday of May, and that hasn't happened since sorry. So, what happens is at the board, you're allowed to vote to postpone, okay, and that's what has been happening. So, you know, if you decide that you are going, what you need to do is you need to vote to postpone if you're not going to hold on. If you're going to hold it in June or whatever, that's fine. You don't have to pick a date when you vote to postpone, but it has to be done by June 30th. So there's still time for all of this, but depending on how quickly you want to. So the posting is 7 days for an annual. It's 7 for the annual, 7 for the election special. There's not, you shouldn't, I strongly recommend you do not hold a special because you can hold any articles that you want at the annual. So exactly.
Yeah, that was perfect.
So it's really a question of how quickly you want to try and get this to the general courts. They can, you know, authorize the language that allows us to combine it. Had it, you know, when we switched it from elected. Well, 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. No, 7, this is 7 calendar, yeah, 7 calendar days.
If we were to have that.
If you were to, but it seems as we're not gonna.
No, we won't have all the budget ready
Yeah,
yet.
that's the whole point, so.
I was just thinking.
No, you could theoretically post on Saturday and still be fine.
Good to know.
And then collector software. So we have this software that the former collector was using that is not compatible with the finance software that we have. So to add a module to the software that we have now will bring us up about $1,000 a year. Right now it's $69.08, and the new proposal will be $79.85. So
Are there any like one-time fees of doing it?
it's all spread out for 6 years, but in 3-year contracts.
Okay, so there's no like, because all that information must have to be moved over to beta.
Yeah.
There's no trans.
Oh yes, there is a list. There is.
I'm
You're
like,
right, I
there's
didn't
got to
see
be
it.
something that.
11,000.
Okay, that's the big
Yeah.
number. Okay.
So, but I mean, in the long run,
No.
we really have to have that software.
We have talked about this a lot.
And then we won't be paying the camera software either. So that will, you know, but that is the one-time fee. So we really need, I mean, hopefully, again, by this fiscal year,
that we can.
that we get this other software that we really, really should have had all along.
I don't disagree. Again, I think that's something that needs to be budgeted and has to go.
Yeah. So that's the collector position. That's the collector. You know.
I do think, and I'm going to speak to everybody. I do think that we really have to strongly consider this. You know, the department does need a clerk in order for this to work, and you know, anyone feelers, anyone know anyone, because that will be critical to it being able to work for her, because she can't do both jobs alone. You know, no one person can do both jobs alone.
Mm-hmm.
So to have that person in there, I don't think the budget would have to transition much. Correct, Nicole?
Correct, because the two positions are about $90,000 a year, and I think that we could do both of those.
And that would have to, you know, that's a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with Jess and whomever else. But
Mm-hmm.
I think together they could, you know.
Yeah, but this is why I keep putting, you know, keep leaving it there, because it's a very important topic that we have to resolve.
And what I will say is that DOR and DLS came in here 10 years ago, maybe not quite 10 years ago, and they made a lot of recommendations that we're not following. And so to ask them to come back in and do an evaluation again on how things are running and not do things that they're suggesting would not do us any good. They're going to do this to us. And so we, you know, I think Julie mentioned in a prior meeting, like, we have eyes on us with everything going on right now. There are, you know, USDA and everything else, like, we have to be on top of our game. And if this gets us there, we really strongly have to.
It's one component for sure.
Yeah. So we have to keep pushing, you know, kind of this along and figure out a way. So, okay. I won't beat that dead horse, but that's where we are on that. So we can keep talking about that in upcoming meetings and do just that for the, you know, the town meeting. It does have to go, you know, that's the reality of it. So, the next thing, why don't, you know what, we have Zen Acres Farm in the room. So rather than make you wait for our whole meeting, which is, you know, I'm sure you're just thrilled to hear about the little old town of Hardwick, but you're in front of us. So we can skip ahead to you folks. What I will ask is if you can come up kind of more to the table, just so everyone can hear you over the Zoom.
I've never been known for being shy.
And introduce yourselves and maybe just give us a little over. We do have your
Yes.
post-community agreement in front of us that has been worked on.
There you go. And that's an actual picture of the phone.
Oh, I know this one. I walked up on Upper THC a lot of mornings. Because it's quiet and peaceful.
Well, we can give you the short and sweet, or we can give. Or did you want a little background on us, or?
Sure. Just, I mean, everybody else. Quite honestly, I don't know anything about it. So,
Well, we'll start with that, and we'll go through the formal. Very short. This is going to take 2 minutes for this part.
okay.
I'm Chris Miller. I'm one of the board members for Zen Acres Farms. And if you had, look, I went to West Point. I was an Army officer. I was an engineer, professional engineer for almost 38 years. So I mean, that's what I. Then I went after I finished my Army career. I went to Harvard Business School, and so I've been a finance guy. I used to write bonds at Bear Stearns. I was director of financial services for America's largest construction company, Turner Construction, Turner Corp. You see the big blue signs. I did 10% of their bottom line by financing projects. I then got recruited to become the CFO of HCA International. So I took them public. I took all the stuff from Hospital Corporation America that was offshore, and I took it public in the UK. So I lived in London for a year. And at the same time, we opened the first Western medical centers in Moscow, in Russia. So I lived in Russia for 2 years. My landlord was KGB, a lot of stories. We could talk about that. But I used to be in the Army, so I understood that stuff. Then I sold my interest in the company, and I found a partner, and I went to China and opened the first Western medical centers in China. My partner was the Ministry of Health. So every day I had access to one of the 4 vice ministers, and we had great conversations. And just to give you an idea, we were open and we were cash flow positive in 30 days and profitable in 40. And I don't think any medical center can be profitable in 40 days, but we did that from scratch. And so that worked out really well. I sold my first company there, and then I set up another company 5 months later. No, about 2.5 months later, I'd raised the money, $5 million. And I went back and I was profitable in that company. I set up a network of facilities in China. I sold it to Li Ka-shing's son, Richard Li. Li Ka-shing's one of the biggest real estate investors in Asia. Came back from that after living in China for 6 years. I came back and I set up two funds to invest in optics and photonics. I was CEO of 2 venture capital funds. I then had multiple jobs I did at the same time. While I was spending half my time in San Francisco working the funds, I also became CFO of 3 biotech funds. And I also was the CFO of a public traded company in Virginia. We did tobacco. And so we went from 98 million sales to 223 million sales in 1 year. We came up with a really ingenious system to work with agriculture. And that's what I understand a lot about agriculture and working with them, because we spent $27 million for the farmers to give them brand new tobacco carrying barns. We gave those to them. And then we were able to buy 1/3 of all the tobacco grown in Virginia. So it really worked out cool. Then I did a bunch of stuff. I was the director of 3 different banks, including the Bank of Virginia, which we bought out with some partners. So we've done all sorts of neat stuff. And I have a venture fund right now. I've got other stuff we do. I've got investors in Europe and in the States and in Asia. And this particular venture is Zen Acre Farms. Is Rebecca's helping us. Rebecca, why don't you introduce yourself?
How are you? My name is Rebecca Adams, and I am a cannabis regulatory compliance consultant. I help groups get through the licensing process. I work with the CCC on an ongoing basis. I'm with them sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, doing inspections, sometimes helping to fix problems with certain clients. And I'm here to help Zen Acres get up and running and stay compliant and maintain compliance.
And that's important to us. We follow the rules. I mean, for me to advocate marijuana is funny because I've never used it, don't want to use it, have no interest in using it. I used to put people in jail for it. I mean, so
We don't want to talk about that now.
but I mean, that's what we did. That was a different time. And the same thing happened in tobacco, where we had to do different things so that the communities, as the garment industry collapsed, as other industries collapsed, all their kids, all their grandkids, all their kids, all their friends had to go to the city to make money. So what we're trying to do here is bring some of those agricultural jobs back here that are good paying, that are high value, so that your friends, family can have a choice of whether they want to work here in Hardwick, or they want to have kids all go to the city and some come back. But they can work here and get good good funds out of that. So that's part of the purpose of this as well. And it's an investor thing. I mean, I'm an investor. We want to do well that way too. So good evening. On behalf of our team at Zen Acres, we'd like to thank you for the time this evening that you're taking out of your schedule and for your consideration to enter this community host agreement with us. I'd like to take a few minutes to introduce our project goals and objectives, which are how we plan to work with the Town of Hardwick to produce a positive impact for everybody. We know you reviewed the host community agreement, so we thought we'd highlight subject matter in discussions right now. You already met Rebecca and myself. Our team is not present this evening. However, every member of our team will be there at the special permit application. We come back for that. So each member of the team will be there. So I'm on the board.
Can I interrupt at that point?
Yes.
So other folks
Yes.
have held public meetings for the community.
Yes, which we will.
We're gonna do that next
Okay,
month. This
okay.
is a community. This is ready for community outreach meeting to be held next month.
Okay.
But I just
That check mark one.
Yes, ma'am. And
Yeah.
we'll give you a date. Rebecca's going to set that date up right after.
Yeah, because we would publicize that.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
People, it's a small town, so
Yeah.
you have to,
Absolutely.
We have to put a posting in the community newspaper. We also have to send out a letter to all the abutment properties.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of letters that Rebecca's far
in
more
the past,
versed
we
in.
put it right on our website, on our town calendar,
That's
so
better.
you can send it along,
Okay.
to Nicole, and on the town clerk.
I definitely will.
Which will be great. We plan to cultivate in phases 100,000 square feet of marijuana and have 20,000 square feet of manufacturing space, 5,000 square feet of retail space. Okay, so it'll be done in phases, not gonna be done instantly. 60,000 square feet outdoor, 40,000 square feet indoor. Okay, that doesn't mean inside a building. It could be inside of a greenhouse. Okay, which is kind of a year-round greenhouse. Our team is not proposing any delivery from this location, so we're not going to be out there delivering to people in the community or anything like that. We're proposing hours of operations for the retail to be 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday. And we, yes. And we'll possibly impact the Town of Hardwick in terms of good faith efforts to hire a contract using local businesses and service, so we can get it locally. We'll pay for it locally. We want to do that. We want to hire as many people as we can locally. We have also requirements from the state for the diversity programs and other things like that. We'll do whatever we can to make sure it's within the town. Okay. We also are going to provide one public health care education program on public health and drug use prevention annually. That's in the HCA. Mm-hmm. And we also have a community impact fee. So it's in addition to sales tax and other taxes. Right. This is 2.5% of the gross. Okay, that go to you every year. And we also pay to the town directly for your own discretionary use, $20,000 per year. And as part of this, we also conduct the community $5,000 annually for profit, nonprofit, for nonprofit groups. And we'll pick them out. We may pick out the same one, maybe pick out different ones, but we'll take care of that. And you're going to find us to be pretty generous with what we wind up doing. We won't limit it to that. We'll operate the facility professionally. We will make sure we follow the state laws, the town rules, police rules, fire rules. We understand rules, and you just do them. I mean, so that's not an issue. Not yet. Not yet.
But we will be. We will be at the community outreach meeting time period, and then multiple times afterwards. So we're required to put together a security plan and the security layout. Right. We don't have that layout yet. And so, that's why we haven't reached out. We don't really have anything to show them.
Not in a bad way, but just trying to work with those other people to just really make sure that what your thoughts are good for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely.
I will say that the hours of the retail store. That's a long day, and I don't know. I mean,
for our employees, you mean? I
No,
just want to make sure I understand.
So you're saying retail, like people are going to come in and buy.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Because a lot of people are working.
So
they get back home.
I get that, but so that's a long day.
Well, we're going to have multiple shifts, so somebody isn't going to work from 8 to 10.
But our police department may have to. That's a long day.
Okay.
I know when these things first get up and going, the crews can be there. Seeing the lines going down the street. I'm just thinking outside the box here. I'm being
I want to hear it.
Yeah. So those are the
I would
things
hear
that-
any
So
feedback.
those are the
right?
things that we need to consider.
Sure.
You know, just coverage and, you
Yeah.
know, it is a small town, it's a, you know, so just,
Okay.
we wanna make sure that they're okay with all of this.
And we
Okay.
come back to see you for the next presentation when the whole team's there.
Yeah.
We'll have seen them, we'll have not only seen them then, but we're happy to talk to them and we're happy to work it out with them. We're not trying to stress anybody out. We want to make this a simple agricultural operation, but make sure it's secure, make sure it's safe, make sure there's cameras, make sure the laws are pretty clear what we got to do. It's extensive. You know, it's not guesswork. It's pretty direct.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so you know, I do this really often with a lot of different groups, whether it's cultivation, product manufacturing, or retail, or all of it. And it's usually one of the things that we do after the HCA. I'm more than happy to make the call tomorrow. I will. And so we'll introduce ourselves, introduce the whole entire project. And then typically what we'll do is we'll put together a security plan, security SOPs, and get them to actually approve it. Make sure that they're comfortable, that they feel that it's adequate enough. It will be based on, you know, the security integrator and where they place cameras, motion sensors, glass breaks. And then after that, just so you know, we submit that to the CCC for what's called architectural review. CCC then reviews that security layout, and then if they want to add anything to it, they add it. Then if they do, we go back to the police, and then we provide, we request the police department and the fire department to do a walkthrough of the facility. So that's as it's being built. Before we get our certificate of occupancy, right? They will have final sign off, no matter what. Yeah, but we make sure that they're included throughout the whole entire process.
These are the things that pop up in
Yeah.
my brain.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure that you know, like, that's the
No, I know
approach.
there's a pretty big process and we are the first step. I do get that too.
I just wanted to make sure you
Yeah.
knew though, that
Yeah.
that's definitely make sure that they're involved in the process 100%.
We want
Sorry, Chris. I know, and I am too.
Rebecca's the brain trust when it comes to all those things, because she's done this a lot of times.
But as you say it, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, no, please do.
Yeah, we even had, security is number one priority. Police department, it is illegal to consume any products on site, illegal to loiter or litter. You must be 21 years of age to enter the facility. So you can't like come in with your kids. You can't, you know, just have the kids take a look. That doesn't happen. It's 21 to get in. And we're not talking about tours. When there's no tours to the facility, this is all, you know, it's all sensitive work.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's very detailed in disposable materials, disposable products, and, you know, just all sorts of record keeping has to take. There's a whole SOP just on record keeping alone. We'll work closely with the town to ensure that we're hearing and listening to all your concerns or questions. We'll abide by all local and state building requirements. We know that the property has, it's, you know, near water areas. We've got to be extra careful. Massachusetts, I happen to live in Virginia. Massachusetts is a reputation for one of the most complex and complete series of conservation laws in the country. I mean, even with the Corps of Engineers, I knew that. So, yes, and so we want to, and we want to do that, and we want to do it right. So we're not going to. That's not a problem. We're not going to be wanting to do that. And we're going to hold our community outreach room. We just talked about that. And then we have to apply everything. We've got those licenses to apply with the Cannabis Control Commission. And the SOPs we supply then are going to be updated later so that they'll match all of the state and local requirements when we turn those in. And then we have to make them for very specific. Be like an SOP for security, where you turn in and it talks about all the general stuff. And then we would update that so that Joe Schmedlap knows when he's there, he has to sign in, has to do this tape, has to put the old tape here, has to walk the premises, has to walk the yard, has to, if he finds fences have been tampered with or something's been cut, he needs to report that, who's reported to, who does, you know, what happens, who he calls. That's the second level of sophistication in terms of the SOPs is what Joe Schmedlap does when he's there, or she does, you know, Josephine Schmedlap, when she's there, you know, what they have to do as guards. So that's two levels, and they've already briefed me on that. And I thought that was more than we did in the Army. And so we're very happy that you could take a look at this. It's 360 acres, so it's not going to be on all 360 acres. It's going to be in a portion of the land. So there's quite a bit of land that will still be used for hay, for other things in the near term, which is great. But it's a nice sized project, 100,000 square feet. So should be nice income for you guys too. Any questions?
which part of the property will this be located on?
You know, we've been discussing that back and forth. We have some basic drawings. Is there any areas in particular of interest to you? It's gonna be right near the pond, where the old ponds are located. I think it's gonna be up on that immediate hill right beyond that. That's what I think we're talking about right now. We have not yet engaged. We've engaged an architect for some preliminary work, but we have to have some soils guys go back, and we're gonna have to take some soil samples. And, the greenhouses will wind up being visible for the road, and we've said that if we have to, we'll put up barriers and all that. But I don't think anybody. Yeah. So, but I can't imagine having because the light issues for some people.
I think, I'm just, I'm thinking of other questions that came up in the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're sensitive to that. It's not going to be right next to the road. It won't be next to the road. It'll be set back on the property. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Not really. Are you talking about at the back of the 20-acre lot?
So they wouldn't know
I think the answer is
On the front of 20 acre lot is. It's
Look at this.
yes. No, I don't think it's gonna be back in there.
You're talking about.
I think this is where the barns are, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's
There's
gonna
the barn.
it's gonna be generally in this area. So generally far away from the 20-acre lot. Is there anything in particular on the 20-acre lot that's of interest that I just need to know about?
It's a beautiful area up there, well used by the people for recreation, and it doesn't have any electric wires breaking up the view and so on.
Well, I can't guarantee we won't use it for something else. We may put other stuff up there that has non-cannabis applications completely. Just so you know up front, I'm not gonna, we're interested in doing other things in the land. So I can't guarantee it's gonna be pristine, but we're not gonna do dirt bike racing.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but we may. Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yes,
Absolutely. There's that.
Yes.
Yes.
Can I also just remind everyone that questions go through the chair and not just speaking directly? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Then I guess just between, up to us if we want to give them a time to reach out to the PD, just to make sure there's no concerns there. And we can put this back on the next agenda, or if we feel comfortable, voting tonight and seeing what happens.
I think I'd prefer to give it a little bit just to see if we have any major concerns. Because obviously people are going to know by our next meeting. If we have no major concerns, I don't think they could handle. We can sign up the next meeting, which is in 2 weeks.
Right, it would be the 28th.
Gives us a little bit of time to digest this and what the host community agreements has to say.
Could I ask a question? Or I'm not trying to be out of order.
No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm just a question. Just so you know, I'm just trying to think this through my little brain, is that we can't set up a community meeting until we have an approved agreement. Could you provisionally approve it? And then that way we can set up our community post meeting and not be delayed on timeline, because that costs us time and money. We're happy to do that, but, and you could provisionally approve it. If I'm gonna go see the chief of police, I'll go personally see him. You understand what I'm saying, right? That's on the critical path. I can't do anything.
I'd have to look at some of the cardinal greenery. They got their community outreach before we got signed.
They did, they had a couple actually.
It's not the way you're supposed to do it.
The CCC is doing it. See that an issue with that.
I'm just trying to provide some.
It actually, to be honest with you, it's why I questioned, just everybody that came to us had a
I
meeting.
just wish I'd known that, yeah, okay, okay.
So,
Okay.
Well, a lot of times people are just dropping it on us without.
they're just, yeah,
Hey, community outreach, it's like, okay.
Well then, maybe if you want to, then we'll schedule it. If it's with your permission, we'll go ahead and start scheduling that, because we thought there was
Yeah, I mean,
We were
you know,
told step one, step two, step three.
right. So if we don't have an HCA, then we're spending this time and money in the community outreach meeting, and then so that's why we're just trying to do things in order. That's
No,
from our perspective.
and maybe people just get it. To be honest, this is all very new to us too, so we're kind of navigating newer waters ourselves. And so, yeah, we did. They had their meetings, and I think it was a matter of going back and forth a little bit with them all, to be honest. But I think the biggest concern, you know, the PD having questions or concerns. A lot of this is going to fall on them if there's an issue, or just always like their input. Julie, do you have anything to add?
It's just a comment. Being on Zoom is really hard to hear when multiple people are speaking. I'm missing half the conversation. And I guess a question to Nicole: has this been through town council?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yep.
It has. Okay. I have concerns. I think that the chief needs to, the chief needs to be consulted on this. I don't know. I understand the need to move this through. I would advocate, though, that we take this up again on the 28th. It sounds like it's not going to impact the community meeting, but again, it's really hard for me to hear on Zoom, so I'm not sure if there's a reason why we need to absolutely sign this tonight. I do not feel comfortable with a provisional signing. Personally, I think we either sign it or we don't sign it. Again, my opinion.
Yeah, no,
We understand too,
Yeah.
as the.
So, yeah, I think that would be great, and then we can put this back on the meeting for the 28th, and hopefully have no comments between then, now and then, and we'll be able to.
Do we need to come back for the 28th, or do we just, can we?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so
Great.
we don't-
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes, yeah, but this was good because we got to meet. each
Yeah.
other,
No.
and,
Definitely. We wanted to
it
make sure.
sounds exciting, and there are a lot of people that want to sunsets. Just keep that in mind. It's beautiful for sunsets. But no, it's business. We welcome a new business in town. So. Yes, please.
I mean, what do you guys need, 2 weeks to actually formally?
Yes. 14 days.
So
To put it in the paper and then.
put it the 30th of April, and you can at least put it on the website, because if it's canceled, that's what it costs you. So you could like have it on the website before you actually put it in the paper.
Okay. Great.
That'd be my recommendation. I really don't see a problem, but we just before we sign something like
Sure.
this,
Oh yeah.
we rather make sure.
Yeah. We definitely understand. You're signing a
We
legal
understand.
document.
Yeah, we weren't trying to push that, but now that we realize, because we didn't know that the town committee meeting could be, we thought it was a linear function. We didn't realize it was. No wonder people got them so approved so quickly. We couldn't figure out how we were being so.
So nobody in this town has been approved quickly. I don't know if that's what you're referring to.
No, I think he's talking about the
Oh,
community
okay.
outreach.
No, the community outreach. We couldn't
okay.
understand. We couldn't
I was
understand
like,
how
wait,
community
no,
outreach
no, no.
program happened so fast. It's like we were a little confused.
Because the first few took it was a little painful to be honest, just being new.
Yeah.
And a lot of reviews back and forth, like you underwent with. Yes.
So don't
so
worry.
it's definitely a process. But again, we welcome you to the community.
So is there a formal letter that the police chief needs to send? I just know with certain municipalities with special permitting, usually I need like a formal letter, or how will you guys know, right, that he or she is?
We can reach out to him, and then he can let us know. We can follow up with him to make sure, that if there's any concerns or questions, then I'm not necessarily looking for anything formal from him. Just that
Sure,
all
I
has
just
to
want to
happen.
make sure. I just want to make sure we're prepared on
Yeah.
our end, right? So
Yeah.
that you guys have what you need to
Yeah.
make a formal decision. I guess
Yeah,
is
I
where I
think
was.
even just an email to
Okay.
including Nicole,
Okay,
and
perfect.
then the chief
Okay.
can weigh in, and then
Awesome.
we can go.
That's helpful. Thank you.
The only thing I think the chief may want is he might want you guys to mail him a citizen, so that
Yeah.
probably one thing.
Right.
I think that'd be kind of crucial here to him saying,
Yeah.
If we give, so in other words, like a
Maybe,
ruler,
yeah,
a ruler and pen.
we can-
A ruler and pen. We actually got it.
those 367 acres,
This is what we're
make a
saying.
box somewhere and say.
Well, actually, we have a fairly, we can do that level. If you ask me for architectural
Right,
drawings.
exactly, that's why I was
like,
Or, water and sewage plans, wastewater. I mean, that's gonna be a little more sophisticated, but I mean, yes, a ruler and pen, we can do.
And also for us, I think it's
Sure.
easier to say, okay, you guys are proposing this, agreements.
Yeah.
You know, subject to changes that might happen once we do our architectural review and everything like that, there could be groundwater issues in a place that we didn't even know about yet.
Okay, awesome. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yes.
I was just gonna say the plan board.
All that.
Yes.
Assuming everything's fine.
Have all that.
Special permit.
We just want, I just want more basics. Sign something like this, it's just. I know you still have to, you guys have to still appeal to the.
And then the Cannabis Control Commission has to go through, and they have inspections that take place, so they're very interested in exactly where this is gonna be, exactly where that's gonna be, so they go on site, they take a look around, it's detailed.
And thanks for moving up, Stu.
Yeah, no,
We
again,
appreciate
yeah.
that.
You could have been here for a little while, so appreciate all the time. Yes, we will, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Nice to meet you both. Yes.
Oh, thank you. So, I don't have a dog warrant for you, so just nix that because you signed it in May of last year. I gave it to you. You should have to have a report by April 1. So she still hasn't made the last one, so
Okay.
I'm not gonna do that until May. But the town election warrant, so historically, we have done 10 in the morning to 8 in the evening. And when we've had no races, there have been sometimes we haven't even had 100 voters. Given the fact that we're going to have mandatory in-person early voting with the state primary and state election, and given the fact that there are no races, I'm recommending, but it's still your call, I'm recommending that we have the election from noon to 7 p.m. At the elementary school. You can have it as open as early as 7 if you wish. It has to be at least 4 hours. Now, ideally, I could almost say, well, let's do 10 to 2 or 12 to 4, but that doesn't serve the electorate. It's kind of, and at the same time, 12 to 6, it's like people might become unexpected. From 7 to 8, unless it's the presidential election, it was busy. But town elections and primaries and stuff, 7 to 8, there's no one. So if you do decide on that, I've got the original here along with copies. If you want me to change it, if you want to change the time to something else, I can go do it and reprint it. So that's my spiel.
I don't have an issue with that time frame, as long, the key would be making sure that everybody has the ability to get to the polls in the time frame that the polls are open, and if, the clerk thinks that.
This meeting is being recorded. Sorry, Julie.
If the clerk thinks that time frame works, I'm willing to go with his suggestion. So I just passed the buck to you, Ryan.
Thanks, Julie. So if that being the case, I would just simply, you could exercise a motion that you will be going to a town election on Monday, April 11th, 2022, from noon to 7 p.m. at the Hardwick Elementary School, 76 Schoolhouse Drive.
I move that motion that Ryan just stated.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Beautiful. Thank you. Those are just copies in the back for you guys to have.
Oh, you don't, just one signature?
Just one signature, I'm gonna take the original and then Eric will make copies
Do you
off of
need
that.
Julie to stop and sign it, or?
I've got 2 out of 3, so
Okay.
I can leave it in there, Julie, if you want. It's up to you.
I have no problem. So just a point of order, Nicole, since I'm on Zoom, do we have to do a roll call since I'm the only one that's not present? Do we have to do a roll call vote?
Wouldn't hurt.
Okay, all right. I'll do roll call. You want to try a little doing it over?
Just record the vote again, so your motion's still on the table.
All those in favor?
Rob, yes.
Julie, yes.
Kelly, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. All right, and you'll bring the dog warrant back to us?
I'll bring the dog warrant back to you in May. Last year was May 14, and I.
Yeah, I thought I didn't see it doesn't seem like that long ago, but it is almost.
Yeah, it's almost the same. So, but thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, thanks. Okay, other old business, the EMS services recommendation from the ambulance committee. Did I see an email? Yes? Okay. So I'll just read this email. Greetings at the meeting of the ambulance feasibility study committee for Hardwick that took place on March 7th. The committee voted to recommend to the Board of Selectmen that the town enter into an agreement with West Brookfield Ambulance to provide EMS service to Hardwick. The committee will continue to meet regularly and investigate ways to establish an ambulance service for our own. Respectfully submitted, Eric Bullheim, Chairman. So West Brookfield got their ALS, correct?
Yes. They did get their ALS, however, so they got it for Worcester County. So because they also transport Tacoma, they have to get their certification in that region too. So it's going to take about a week or so. It's more of a red tape kind of thing. Okay. So, but yes, they are ALS now. And earlier last week or the week before, Ware had asked us to, set up a time where we could meet with the ambulance committee, which is not this study committee, but the ambulance committee that was appointed before. And Julie and I were available, but the Ware Select Board and the chief wasn't able to come, so we haven't had the meeting yet. And the meeting is supposed to be about what we're going to do for the next until June 30, how we're going to handle the agreement.
We've paid them.
Yep, they are. So I couldn't find the email. I couldn't remember which attorney it was to find the email talking about what we do, to get reimbursed in the event we leave before the 12 months, how we get, how they prorate.
Okay, back up. Mm-hmm. So, that's great that they recommended this. There was an issue with them working with Barry last year. So I think there needs to be more meetings here. I'm not so sure we're ready to jump ship prior to the end of the fiscal year.
So I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
But I know that Julie had asked to, if we're going to leave early, how is that going to work?
Right.
And honestly,
it was a prorated.
Right, but and it's like at this point we can just finish out the year and then start fresh in July. But what happened was at their meeting, at the Ware meeting, last Monday night, they voted to terminate our contract. So
have they notified us of that?
No, I just happened to hear it in passing because the Ware Town Clerk came in to see the Hardwick Town Clerk, and she told me that they did that. So I didn't see anything. I didn't see the meeting. I saw nothing.
Seen anything.
No.
There's no date.
But I think it's probably June 30. Right. So because we said we weren't going again, I think they wanted to, be on top of it. They were the best for us.
Well, we'll have to just,
So that's that. That's just where that is. So,
I would say we need to get our ducks in a row then and maybe sit down with West Brookfield and Barry to make sure that, this is feasible. Because there were some concerns.
Okay. West Brookfield is willing to take the whole town too, so.
So I think we have to make sure that we just have good coverage.
I did get February's ambulance report, but I haven't looked at it. I just put it in the folder and didn't look at it to see.
It would be ideal if we could make the transition, the new fiscal year. That would be ideal.
And it will take some time. Obviously we want to make sure that everybody's working cohesively, and that we have a contract. We don't have necessarily a contract right now, so it'll take a little time anyway. So
yeah, that's what I mean. Just getting our.
It would be the end of the year. We would stay with Ware even though they don't really answer a lot of our calls, but we have a
No,
contract with them,
That's
so.
about, that's about, so I think, do you guys want, should we set up a meeting with the two different towns?
Probably should.
Julie?
So can we actually clarify, can we sort of hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, about what the termination of the contract means? I believe in the contract there's a 90-day period, so if they voted to terminate it at their last meeting, does that bring us through the end of June? Do we have to be out earlier? I think we sort of need clarification on that. I also agree that we do need to make sure that there's a meeting with West Brookfield and Barry. We have a current contract with Barry, and I just want to be sure that that it's going to work.
Agreed.
Well, like you said, we haven't heard it necessarily from the select board or the town manager, so honestly, it technically hasn't happened yet. What I probably assume is that April 1st, they'll send us the 90-day termination. I would assume if we don't talk to them, we're still supposed to have a meeting, so.
Well, maybe we reach out to them and ask Stuart. Maybe you send Stuart an email questioning the meeting that you guys were supposed to have. And at that point, you get a response. Or even say, we've heard through, the rumor mill. Just looking for some clarification. And then we can move forward and set. Should we do that maybe our first meeting in April? Have them see if they can be on the agenda, or we can do it.
Next meeting we have deal with this.
Public hearings.
Yeah.
Not in April though, but that's in March.
In March, the 28th meeting, 28th.
Yeah, there's two public liquor license. I thought it was coming through the computer.
Well, I can reach out to Stuart and then get back to you.
And then
guys.
see, yeah, and then we can maybe plan that meeting. Okay, Mass Department of Fish and Game is considering the purchase of a fee interest in land located in the town of Hardwick. The packet is in your, I can add my 2 cents as to what goes down on this. I will not be voting on this. This property is located off of North Road. They do have an agreement in place. The reason why they come to the town is they ask for the town's a letter of support so that they can move forward on the closing. Otherwise, there's a waiting period. So regardless of what happens, they will be buying this parcel. They just look for support from the town.
So what they're asking us to do is send them a letter of support so they can expedite this.
The closing of it, correct. The back taxes get paid on anything that was not in taxes, and then you can see the last 2 lines on there. I know in the past, it's been noted that there's a pilot program that Fish and Game has with the town, and that is not the case, just for the record. They pay for a fiscal year of real estate taxes on the properties. And then the wildlife is managed for habitat.
Julie, you got anything?
I don't. So what's in front of us is just for us to authorize a letter of support for the purchase. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have an issue.
Do you want to make the motion? You want me to?
If
So,
you want the motion that I can send them a letter, you know, at their regular scheduled meeting, the Board of Selectmen voted to support.
Yeah, it's just a letter of support for the purchase. And
So,
again, I'll just speed up the process. You know, the process will happen regardless. It's just that it does help facilitate it.
So I'll make a motion that we authorize Nicole on behalf of the Board of Selectmen to write a letter of support in support of the Department of Fish and Game's purchase of the property known as Town Assessor, map 10, parcels 3 and 6, map 126, parcels 15 and 16.
Second that.
All in favor?
Julie, yes?
Rob, yes.
Abstain. Kelly, abstain. Park and Rec?
Yes, so the Park and Rec Committee was in last Thursday, and they asked if they could hold their first annual Easter egg hunt at Memorial Park off of Prospect Street on April 10th at 1 p.m. And pending your approval, they've gotten a sponsor. So Eagle Hill is going to sponsor it.
That's great.
And I also donated the bunny costume that Angie Broussard on Park and Rec is going to be wearing.
Oh, that's awesome. Are they looking for donations?
No, because it's now fully sponsored.
Okay, well, if there additional costs come up or if they can think of anything.
Well, they hope to do more events, so maybe in the future that will happen, but right now this is covered. They just need your approval for that.
I'm fine with that. I think that's fun.
Yeah, it's fine. We actually have to vote on something like that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just, you know.
Technically.
I don't know. Usable.
Yeah,
you
just
permission.
Yeah.
Julie, you got anything?
I'm okay with it. Do we need a motion?
Sure.
So I'll make a motion that we authorize the Parks and Rec Commission to hold the first annual Easter egg hunt on April 10th, 2022 at 1 p.m.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Kelly, aye.
Yeah.
Rob,
Julie, aye.
Okay. I know you sent us some department reports. They should all be in your packet, you guys.
It's a separate packet.
So just a question, under 4C for old business, do we have to approve a change order for New Braintree? Did I miss that? Did we do that already?
We didn't. I guess I was signatures and
Yeah.
yeah. But we can.
Okay.
We can
I
do
just
that
thought
now.
under old business. I wasn't sure.
Yep.
I missed something. Sorry about that.
Oh,
It's under 4D or 4C.
I don't have it on this one, so
Oh, I
that's
have an
why
old agenda
that's why I
too.
skipped over it. I have the old agenda. Sorry. Thank you, George. So there's a
Okay.
change. Do you just want to go over that super quick, people?
Yeah. There's a change order. A $28,288.40 increase is requested due to unforeseen subsurface conditions. So, two catch basins and associated drain pipe located in Braintree Rd were replaced due to conflict encountered during the installations because they didn't know where they were. And during the installation of the water and sewer main, additional water services were required. So there's this change order that will be covered under the grant.
Yeah, there was a contingency fund, I believe, that was, priorly, but like they could overspend the project by 10%. It was something to that nature, and they were well aware that they needed to spend that. So,
I think before it started, they knew.
yeah, exactly. So I take a motion.
I move to approve the change order for the old Gilbertville Road project.
And authorize.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Rob, aye.
Julia,
Kelly, yes. Okay, Nicole, your report now?
Okay. So confidential mediation with USDA is still ongoing. I hope to have some more answers sometime in April. The town audit is ongoing. Staff continues to assist with documentation. I'm doing a lot that the usually accountant would be doing. So here's the YouTube issue. The supplies have been delayed. Me and Rick are clearly hopefully by the end of March we don't have the supplies yet. Again, this is the third time that the town census has gone out. Please return it. They're very important documents and we're considered for grants, etc.
Do we get?
I didn't ask.
No, I'm just curious.
I think so because he had a lot of mail.
Yeah, okay.
Municipal vulnerability preparedness charrettes will be taking place at Town Hall March 24th and the 31st from 5 to 8. I will give updates shortly thereafter. This is required to get the designation. The planning board is finalizing the solar runoff for town meeting. We had a meeting with the solar zoning expert on Tuesday night. Somebody from Boston. I didn't participate. I was in.
Yeah, I heard that. It went well though.
Good.
Yeah.
Tuesday, March 1st, the East Quabbin Land Trust and Mass Division of Ecological Restoration had a meeting regarding the proposed Wheelwright Pond dam removal on the Ware River. It was very well attended. Conservation Commission was also present. It seems like a really good project that the state's now doing when, you know, they don't need these dams anymore because they're not there for purpose that they were intended. You know, they used to have hydropower, etc., and now they're just going to let it go back to the natural state. Our IT contract is coming due soon. We're gonna have to go out to bid, so I'm writing that up. Actually, it's pretty much done. So for your approval at the next meeting because we need to go to bid. When I was contacted by FEMA, we received almost $185,000 in funds, but only $3,092.81 was reported. So they were expecting us to return $179,856 that we have spent. So they're allowing us to do it's literally called a do-over and report the line item. So we'll be able to not have to pay that back because that was kind of stressful and scary when I thought we were going to lose all of our free cash. So that'll be all set. And 2 ABCC hearings are scheduled for the 28th. One is for the golf course and the other is for a new convenience store that I know you all know where the locations are. It's going to be called Old Furnace Country Store, I think. And then I'm requesting a vacation from April 18th to the 22nd, and then possibly this coming Monday for a personal day. But I'm not positive. The vacation is really requested.
Yeah, and you had mentioned that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. There's one more thing. Over the weekend, I got an email from The Reminder, which is a publication in East Long Meadow, and they're doing a new paper that is starting on April 7th. It's going to be called the Munson Palmer Reminder, but it covers Munson Palmer, Ware, Warren, Hardwick, Brimfield, Holland, and Wales. It's going to be delivered to every home in the communities they cover free of charge. So we will probably be seeing more media. I'm really excited about this because this is completely different than Turley Publications. So I think that we'll get a lot better local coverage and more positive coverage, and it's going to go right to everybody's houses. So if anybody has any questions, you can reach out to me, and if you want to talk to them, I have the contacts. And the lead reporter that's going to be in this newspaper is Lauren LaBelle. So if anybody wants to contact them for any reason, just call me and I will give you the information.
But either one of you have anything you need to discuss or, bring up?
No.
Before we go into executive session?
It's Ann Barnes here. I have a question.
Hi, Ann.
Did Nicole mean your municipal building? Okay, it's down at your municipal building, the 24th and 31st gatherings.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You guys call it Town Hall.
Yes,
Yes.
it's here.
Municipal building.
Yes, it's here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ann. All right, well, That being said, then we will be going into executive session. So the only person that can remain on the Zoom is Julie.